All right, I'm trying to knock these videos out. Come May 1st, it's going to be very limited in the videos that I'm like live on for a while. And it's going to be hard for me. So I'm trying to knock out as many videos as possible in lives because I'm I have some things that I have to work on, have to do. So my time on social media is going to be limited. I'm hoping I don't like lose my audience during that time frame, but it's going to be very, very limited for about a month, like a full month in May. So other than like announcing like my bachelor's program, my master's program, my doctorate program, which those announcements are coming up soon, but I'm going, like I said, be very limited on social media. So wanted to do these a couple of videos, right? So with this particular video, someone asked a question in a Facebook group that I'm in about this particular image, and they needed it so that they can cut it for a shirt, like from vinyl. And one of the sites that I get files from, so this is like the actual vector file. The actual vector file. That's what this is. And I've actually done some modifications to the file. And I wanted to break down the differences in how a file is set up and knowing how you can use it. Okay. So let's zoom in here and then let's share this file. Let's share this out. So we're going to just go share and whoa, more options, share to a group. And this is more so like if you do vinyl or if you're doing paper crafting. Hold on, HTV or paper. Okay. So at everyone. Okay, so let's go ahead and send that one. Let's see, did I see a question or just people joining in? Okay, so no questions just yet over here. All right, cool beans. So let me just go ahead and just share this out again. All right, so I want you guys to take a look. Take a look at the images that are on screen, right? And tell me, just by looking at them, do you notice anything majorly different about any of these? The difference in the three different programs: beginners, intermediate, and like real on advanced stuff. So like our obituaries and like more detailed advanced type of designing. So beginners, like somewhat of like the other day, but not quite. Like that's going to be our foundation, and it's just getting to know the software in general and some basic designs, intermediate type designing, and then advanced designing. So just like in school, bachelor's, master's, doctorate. get higher education. All right, so waiting on those answers on whether or not you notice anything different between these 4 images. Is there anything that stands out and that's different with these 4 images? And while I'm waiting for you guys to post your answer, I forgot, I didn't do an intro. I am Shakia, the professor of HSINK365 LLC. We are the parent company of the product line Honesty, or the home of the product line Honesty Speaking. We carry Sublimation paper. We also have HSINK Digital, HSINK Designs, HSINK 365 Prints, and 365 Creative Academy. These are all separate entities for us that we operate to speak to different audiences. So we have like our own dedicated like brand of shirts and apparel and designs. We do custom things through HSINK 365 Prints. Our HSINK Digitals, where you can find our digital files like fans, yard signs, outlines, and templates for so many different sublimation blanks. And 365 Creative Academy is where I help you to unlock your creativity in a wide variety of trainings, everything from business to marketing, websites. Tonight, creative business. We are going over a Shopify website and just the benefits of it. So we teach that as well over on 365 Creative Academy. So definitely check out our platform, shop.hsink365.com, for everything that we have to offer. Okay. Oh, well, that's actually the box. That's the design page. I mean, I could have moved them all up, but that's just the design page. So that's not really a background. So see, I can't, whoa. Exit out, the heck? I can't click on this, see? So you go here. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. So you go here, you can click on stuff, click on it. Here, it's an arrow. So that's actually the design page. That's not a background. So someone says it has a background. No, looking at just the image. So not backgrounds behind it. From the blue circle inward, do you notice anything that is different? I'll pull it back. Even if you just can only see the 2. Is there anything different about them? They're all the same size. So guys, they're all the same size. Ignore the white boxes, just that's the design page. Looking at from the circle inside, all of the elements of the design. Is there anything that stands out as different? Nope, one is not a PNG. They're all vector files. Okay, so this is why it is important to understand how files are set up, especially vector files, because to the naked eye, they look exactly the same. However, each one of these, the third one, the third and fourth one may have been traced. Part of the shirt is cut out. No, part of the shirt's cut out. Where do you see that at? Look the same to me. But no, none of these are traced. These are all vector images. Technically, they all started from the same exact file. So nothing was traced on this whatsoever. Nothing was traced. Okay, so under his arm. What do you mean part of the shirt is going under his arm? They look the same. Oh, okay, I see it. I actually even noticed that. Haha, right there. I see what you mean. Okay, that was a piece I left off then. All right. I was like, wait, what are you talking about? So, okay, yeah, that's one thing that's like different. But I didn't even notice that I guess I didn't do it in the original because this is the original, which means it's probably back there. Oh yeah, see, it's right there. Haha. All right, so let's bring you to the front. Oh, it is there. Okay, there we go. Now they're all the same. My bad. I didn't even realize that that part didn't come to the front. So, all right, let me see. Can I zoom out more? Well, actually, I'll push them back like this so you guys can see. So these all technically started from the same vector image. However, how they are set up is very different, especially if you are going to use this as vinyl, like you're going to cut it from vinyl, or you're going to cut it like adhesive vinyl, HTV, or if you're going to do like paper crafting. How a file is set up is so important. Okay, so most times when artists are creating files, they are just putting everything in place, and as you fill things with color, it starts to take shape. When you're looking at a raw SVG file, you get to really see like what it takes to create some of these designs. Okay. Well, actually, someone said it over. Actually didn't even see it over here. I saw it on Facebook and YouTube is where I saw that one at. But yeah, she said it over here too. So the way that this one is set up, and I just talked about all this duplicating. Oh, look, let's even do it that way first, right? So as I drag and select over this so that I can duplicate it, look at how many gray boxes you see. So when we talk about things that could potentially bog down your system, especially if you don't have a computer that has great resources like your memory, your graphics card, and things like that, right? Something like this where there's all of these elements. Now imagine if you took these elements and you filled them with a pattern. That pattern is not a solid color. Solid color isn't going to hold as much data. Like it's not going to weigh down the software because it's just color. And that's the joy of vector files. You fill it with color, you make it as big as small as you want. But when it comes to filling it in with the pattern, you're now introducing a JPEG or a PNG into the mix. If that was a very large background file and you have that in each one of these little spots here, it is going to drag your system down, especially if you don't have a lot of resources. So if you're, like I said, your graphics card, your memory card, all those different things isn't up to par. But this is how it's set up most times in its rawest form. And I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this so I can break it apart. I'm going to group this one. So this is set up where there was a circle. This is another circle. Well, I don't even know where in the heck that one came from. There is another circle. And we still have some white here, right? Each one. So there's a star here. There is a star here, 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 here. So these are all the ones that we can actually see. I'm going to change the colors on those. Oops. So see, I clicked on something I had no business clicking on. So those are the ones that we can actually see. All right. I'm going to pull those away. You see, those are yellow, right? Then we have this blue piece here. We have this part here, which probably started off as a full-on circle. They created different shapes in there to create the solid part and then the stars and to create the stripes. Then there is more white because then there's the outline around him. They're still white here. They're still white because guess what? The stars. So there's actually a version of this where it's just this guy and not the stars and stripes background. So when this was put together, it was probably done to where the background was created first and they just put his vector on top of the background. So I can't even move all of them. So let's say we had this here, okay, I'm gonna set this up like this. Oh, that's what that was. This, I think, is the original background for this. And then this was the outline, probably. I don't know, somewhere in there. But they could have had this set up to where this was already a file. And by him being a file, you're just going to take this completed file and put it right on top, right? Now, if you're printing this out, hey, that's all great. You know, you're not thinking anything of it. But if you now need to cut this, like, man, how do we decide like how to break this up to cut it? You know, that's one layer of blue, and then you have a whole nother one, and then you have the stars. You had 2 layers of white, you had the red, and you come over here, you move this white, then there's some more. Oh, I moved the blue. Then there is some more white. There's more white right here, which is how the brush looks like a brush because they went in. So this is, I talk about creating files or designs. You don't have to be this type of artist, right? This takes understanding not just how to work a design software, but it is also someone who is an artist and they know what shapes and what corners and what edit points and this, that, and the third to make something look like something is not. So one thing I teach, especially in foundations of designing, is everything is a shape. So this paintbrush originally was just, you know, they actually went already and welded all this stuff, but it was just this shape. And then this white shape on top is what made it look like an actual paintbrush. So we have this, you know, to create the jawline and the ears so that you can visually see that there are all of these little pieces. And look, there was another star behind that. So that definitely lets you know that this was 2 different images, 2 separate files. I can probably go on the website and find him by himself, and I can probably go and find the circle with the stars and stripes by itself, because you have pieces in weird spots, which means on mine, I didn't even know that star was back there. So it's probably going to mess up one of my files because I didn't even realize that one was back there, because that was in a very weird spot behind his ear, behind his head. But all of this, right? And then you have this piece here. And although they split this, if I click on this blue part here and I reduce it, this design, like this shape right here, you can see it is like here, and then this one. So there's like a gap in between it. So they just created a random shape. And for them, when you are designing this, as long as it goes behind this, it is the optical illusion that, hey, it's coming right to the top of, you know, this section of his shirt, but it really actually goes behind it. So even if you were to separate this and you're trying to put it all together, when you go to line up, it's like, wait a minute, this isn't lining up with this. Like, which one do I put? This is where you really have to know what goes first, what goes second, like, in what order it has to go in, because it's not ideally set up. This is a true vector file where they're not doing a lot of like the subtract and stuff like that. This is normally when you have your EPS files or your Illustrator files. People tend to know that as people, when it comes to SVGs, it's more so used by a community of people who are using some sort of cutting software, or laser software, CNC, like, type of cutting. So you need more simplistic lines versus having all of the elements of the vector file. But most vector artists will leave it in its raw form, exactly how they're drawing it out in their software with their drawing pencils or drawing tablets and things of that nature. Okay. So that's how like this all is set up. Now, all these little pieces, I'm gonna move you. We're just gonna take all y'all, put it all in one little pile, and group you together over here in the corner. So now, with this one, once I moved it away from the design page, we see that there's actually no white to this at all. If I were to take a box and place it behind it, that white area is going to fill in with whatever color is there. So if I wanted to, like, let's say offer my client, like they really want it, it looks like a 4-color design, but I'm putting this on a white shirt. Well, it's a waste of vinyl. It's kind of a waste of your time. It's going to make it thicker for you to cut white vinyl. Your shirt is going to be white. That is where that white is going to come in at. So with this one, I had already set it up where all of the stars are cut out of like where the white would be. So see, like this is one whole, so you will be able to cut this as one blue cut. Everything is welded together. And you don't have to worry about like little cut lines and stuff like that inside. Same thing for the red. This is also set up to where it does not matter what color you put down first. Although in this, it'll be the blue because that's the biggest one. And it'll kind of tell you where everything else goes. But everything, like all the other colors, have defined cut areas, which right here, oh, I didn't realize. Okay. So see, look, I even had like a little missing area right here. So we're going to ungroup. Oh, let's add this back because I forgot that last time. And then this little extra piece right here, we're just going to bring this to the front and subtract all because I don't know where that crap came from. Okay, so see that little piece is gone. But this is all made to where it goes right. Come on. It goes right to the edge of each color. So if I were to take this and take my transparency down, now if I move it over, you can see the overlap, but it's made to line right up with the edge of the color that it's next to. So this will make for easier layering. If your design is set up the first way, if you don't understand about what should be to the front, what should be to the back, how to properly do compound paths, what to subtract, what to crop, what to weld, you won't be able to set this up where it's going to be ideal for your needs. It's very important to not just understand the how, but like the why behind certain things, so that when you come across designs like this, you don't think that, oh, it's a bad file, because that's really how files are made. There are those who will take something like this and now create it where it is ideal for an SVG user. A true vector file and an SVG really are two different playing fields, although they're both vector. It's just, we just expect SVGs to be simplified. And this is a simplified version. Now, This one right here is set up. Well, now you'll look at it and think it's almost like the other one. If I go and put my box over it, I'm going to go ahead and ungroup some things. I don't have as many gray squares as I did before because I have simplified this. But if I wanted to put this on a colored shirt, but I wanted those areas to still remain white, there's a certain way that you have to set it up so that you actually can still have the white part of the design. Okay, so this one is set up where we have the blue background, and there's another way to set it up too, where we can have just like the blue from here will show through. But I don't know if that's how I set the last one up. I probably did already. But we have the blue there. We have one white. So remember before when we had all of those different pieces of white? Now there's only one white to make up and account for all of the white within the design, not a bunch of different pieces. So we have the red. Oh, ungroup. So this red, I'm not sure if you guys noticed on the other one, guess what? It's solid. So like you see where his head and all that stuff is, this is solid. Now we come down here. See, this red was set up to where it has the cutout. So that, again, this is it doesn't matter what order it goes in because it already accounts for that offset. So when they were doing that, someone created an offset to separate the colors. I think with this one, all right. Yeah, so this is one whole like piece. Now, if I go back to that original one, is this the one? You see how like when they design this, I teach my students this all the time. Everything is a shape. So for this hammer, it wasn't like drawing out like a full hammer. Because you can probably have the hammer, then you can go in and then you can draw the hand, erase that part. Like they drew this where everything was a shape. So the two handles for the two sides of the hammer were just rectangles. If we come in here for the part of his hand, like just the top of his hand is one shape. Then to create this part is another, like these are all individual shapes. Could you imagine trying to select each one of those to get it in the right spots that you can properly cut it? And then when you do go to cut it, you may have overlapping parts. And when you go to weed it, you're going to end up with holes. So this is where welding comes in. You have to understand what to click on to weld. All right, so we're going to come back down here. Now, all of these are not individual pieces. You can see there's no gaps there. They're all welded together. So that's going to make for a much easier cut. So we have the blue, the white, this part here that is cut right to it, and then all right. So there we go. That's how that one is set up. And then this one is set up to where we have still like a lot, like the stars are still there. So let's say you wanted, well, this well, this would affect everything else, but like this technically can be a different color, and then the stars can be a different color. Or more so, I kind of left this set up to where if you wanted the stars to be a different color, you can, but you have this, this, this. His body and this part were not welded together. I don't know why those weren't together, but you have all the stars. And I'm going to set this one up to where the white, hold on. Okay. So I need to do okay. So I'm just going to copy, paste in front. I'm going to weld all of that. And I need to subtract all of that from the white. And see, this is where I said sometimes people don't go in and clean it up because of all those like little areas. I'm left with all of these little, I call them ghost or phantom pieces. And this really affects how it, as if you're going to cut it, you're going to wonder why it's going tap, 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 tap. And you're like, what the heck is going on? This is not on my design. They're really small areas. So I'm going to just click here. So what I did with the white, it now has cutouts and everything is going to basically like fit inside of it. So we're going to take this and we're going to oh, duh. Dang it. I forgot to, this is why it's important to not miss certain steps because I was supposed to subtract this one. So we're going to undo. Unfortunately, that's why I like to make duplicates because I kind of screwed up on, you know what? I'm not even going to do that. Let's delete this. This is why we make duplicates. For this very reason, I don't want to have to go all the way back. I first needed to take my solid circle and subtract all to create a hole inside of the back circle. So that had to be the first step. Okay. Then we're going to take everything else and cut it from the white because this is solid right now. Okay. So if I wanted this to be where I did not, well, actually, you know what? I kind of like this way where it's solid here. So I'm going to just take the stars and I'm going to subtract them from the blue. So now I have the white that's right here. Okay. And, oh, nope, I'm not, I'm going to have to cut it because this part comes down. But right now I don't have a solid blue, but I can still technically still take the blues and I can cut these as one, like one piece, put down my white first, and then put this on top of the white, lining it up to the edge of the circle, and then put my red in and my tan because they are made to go right to the edge of the blue and fit like a puzzle. The only issue would be technically this is still two separate blues, and that's why it has to go on top because the white still goes underneath it. But this looks like it should be designed where his body flows into the circle. Okay. We're going to undo. So now that I cut that out, I'm going to go through where I'm going to cut all of the pieces from the white and just kind of leave that part. So we're going to click him, this. Okay, so that's all the pieces. There we go. I'm going to copy, paste in front. So I did my keyboard shortcuts. I like to weld it just so I can kind of just have one little whole piece, and then I'm just going to group it together. Hold down Shift, click on my white, and then I'm just going to subtract. I'll move all those later. So now how my white is basically set up, it's just an outline. And this had white that, this had white that was connected. Oh no, that's supposed to be connected. So I need that white, hold down Shift, this white, that should be connected. I might need this white. So I just need to now go in and select all of the white areas that are encased in something. All right, so now we still need this white, this. Okay, so I'm just gonna group all of those together for now because I don't think I cut, oh, I did cut that out. So we're gonna take the parts of his face. Okay, so those is part, and then this. So this is all of the white areas, and I'm just gonna group those together. So now for my blue, see how I have these edit points here? It's because there's a gap there. It's not connected. So that's when I'm going to go over here to my drawing tool. And I'm just going to create a shape. Because I'm going to close off those open areas that I technically don't really see, but I know that they're there. All right. So that shape, hold down Shift, this shape here, and we're going to weld it. So now, oops. I'm missing this one over here. Why do I keep getting this darn white in the middle? Oh, I know why. Okay, I can always cut that off. I see why I have that. Okay, so now my blue is all one cut. My white is now all one, and it fits like a puzzle. My red fits like a puzzle. And then my tan areas, ooh, see, we got to get rid of those. So we're just going to hold down, click on one. I'm going to click here and here. All right, we're going to bring those over to the side. So I can put those in place, because right here is all of those scraggly pieces that will cause your cutter to go crazy, and even Silhouette Studio sometimes. So we're just going to delete those. So now this is set up where we only have 4 cuts, and it really doesn't matter what order we put them down because it is a full-on puzzle piece. So although in the beginning they all look the same, they were set up differently for different types of cut and assembly situations, depending on how you were using it. So it is important to, especially if you're still buying files, you don't want to feel like you wasted money on files where you don't know what to do with them because you open them up, it has all of these pieces, and all you can really do with it is put it for something that needs to be printed. But now trying to change the colors or trying to cut it from vinyl, it just seems like a very daunting task because you don't understand how to set it up. Files like this is one of the things that we are going to go through in the master's program because it's a little bit past the basics. As you guys can see, it's a lot to it. So being able to take a file where it's in its raw form and then understand what you need to click on, understand what needs to be removed or subtracted in order to get this desired look. These are the types of things that are going to happen in the master's and the doctorate program, because before you can even, like, let's be honest, right? Watching me do that, right? How much of that was like, oh, that is team too much and that is way confusing. How in the heck did you know what to click on, where to move? So let's be honest, right? Who looked at this is like, this is overwhelming. This is team too much. That's a lot of steps. That's a lot of things to remember. Who had that feeling watching me go through this? So Valerie says, yep, that was me. Myrna over here raised her hand. We got some hand raises over here. I knew, figured that was hand raised. So we got some folks over here being honest that it's like, whoa, that's a lot. Probably would not even know what to subtract, what to crop, what to subtract all, what to weld. Why did you even weld this, Shakia? Not even knowing how to use those functions. This is where Essentials comes in, right? Will Essentials help you fully understand how to do this? I'm not going to say that it is, but you will understand the tools that it takes to do things like this. So why is it that for some things I did subtract, but for others I had to do subtract all? Give you a little insight on that. It is because it was more than one piece. So because I had more than one thing selected, I had to do subtract all in order to remove the overlap. But because if I would have just hit subtract, everything that was on top would have disappeared and I would only have what was left on the bottom. So it is important to understand that although they both say subtract and subtract all are two totally different functions. The way things were overlapped, we could not do a compound path to create a hole because of the way things were overlapped. You would create more holes if you did that. So subtract is what really cuts into it in certain scenarios. You have to understand those functions and fundamentally what is it that they do, because each tool, each function has a specific purpose in how you design, right? So that's the first step. And that's your 30 days to really understand it. And then there are going to be some things that we do along, very simplistic. This had a lot going on in this particular one. There were offsets in this, all sorts of things. In masters, we'll learn how to dissect this. I'm going to have an image that's going to be just like this. We're just going to start off one way, and each session we're going to start with that first one, and then we're going to break it down how we had the really it's 4 different versions of it. That one may have 4 different versions. If you wanted to cut it all as one, if you wanted to layer it in colors, like depending on what it is that you're wanting to do, we're going to break down that. And then doctorate is about learning how to create that from scratch. So that started off as a circle, then creating the shape to create that half moon or half circle blue section. How do you create the swoops for the stripes? Of course, then, okay, just putting stars there. Once you had the guy, like, putting the offset around it, and how do you know where to put that up? So doctorate is really about creating some of these things especially when you're able to like bring in shapes. You don't have to be able to draw it. You might find an SVG or a vector file or even a PNG of a hammer and a paintbrush. You may already have an SVG or a PNG or a JPEG of a guy with his arms crossed, with his hands out, and there's a way for you to take an image of a hammer and a paintbrush and make it look like he's holding it. So I'm not here to teach you guys how to be an artist and how to draw. My goal is to teach you how to use a software, like a design software, based off of the skills that you actually want to have. Some people desire to be able to set up very detailed images, like the first, how the original ones was of this. And some are like, okay, well, I just want to know how to properly set it up and change the colors. So when someone asks what's the difference in them, it's levels to it. And some may only be ready for bachelor's, and it's like, okay, I want to get a better understanding of the tools and functions. We're still going to go through projects so that you're kind of, building on the tools and how they work together in different scenarios. Masters is, look, I'm not explaining none of okay, this is how subtract works. If you're in masters and you have those questions, I'm gonna send you back to bachelor's. If you didn't buy bachelor's, you're gonna have to go buy bachelor's, because in there we are moving and grooving to learn how to modify and create designs. Doctorate is going to be really advanced things that take a lot of layers to it. Something like an obituary, there's a lot of moving parts to that. Creating a banner, it's a lot of moving parts. You may have to crop this, crop that, fill this color, move this over here, rotate. So it's going to be a lot more complicated designs for that particular program. It's going to be 6 months, so you'll have an opportunity to take another one live. Don't feel like you're missing out and you want to jump to, because you don't want to miss out on anything. You want to jump into the doctorate program. I'm not slowing down. I'm telling y'all now, when we're in that one, we're going to be moving and grooving. It's not going to be this let's go slow pace, oh, I don't even know where to click type situation. If you are enrolled in my doctorate program, you better know how to use your mouse, how to click on stuff, how to do simple, like some troubleshooting yourself. Like, okay, if you click somewhere, it's not quite clicking. You already have to know how to. And I say, okay, we're gonna select these 3 elements. I'm not gonna go like I do these. Okay, we want to hold down Shift and we want to click, or we're gonna drag and select. When I say, okay, you're gonna select object 1, 2, 3, and 4. You got to be on it to know how to select object 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you don't know how to select object 1, 2, 3, and 4, then you need to go back to basics. To the bachelor's program. That's the difference in how they're going to be set up. Yes, one thing, the red vinyl has multiple detached pieces. What do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Oh, meaning they're separated and they're not welded together at all. Like everything else. The tan is also, I don't think that has anything that's welded. The tan, if you break it up, yeah, they're all holes in that. So they're not welded at all. Each section is its own individual section. Same thing with the red. So I can ungroup those and technically they can be moved. Whereas with this one, it's all one compound path. So the only way for me to separate anything within here is to release compound path. But then guess what? Everything floods in with color. And then you'll have to know what to move, what not to move. It looks like certain things are missing, but they are not. So you look, his jawline, you don't see the red outline, but you know that they are there because there are boxes there. So if I were to come in here like this and send all this to the back, then now we see his jawline. So knowing what's to the front, what's to the back, you're going to come across files that aren't going to be so simply set up. And while you can send them and pay a fee for me to simplify it for you, it's always great to know how to do it yourself and being able to identify what needs to be done. But the first step is the 30-day training, guys. I'm going to harp on that. It's going to be the 30-day training is going to be the best place to start. It's your fundamentals, it's your foundation, it's your ultimate reference guide for pretty much anything, any tool in Silhouette Studio where you're not quite sure if you're using the right tool. That's going to be where you go at. Up until the end of April is the last time you'll be able to catch it at the price that it's at, because I'm going to actually be running some ads and stuff on it. The price is going to be higher, and I will be on to talk about the programs. You'll be able to enroll in them in May, but it will start June. The different programs will start in June. It's going to be like a little bit of a staggered start time, but there are 6-month programs. And those of you who know that in December, once we get to the end, I don't do any live videos. I take the time off because my kids are on Christmas break. So this program will pretty much run from June until November, so that, and some of them that are staggered into December, so that I can be done by the time the kids are on winter break. But it's important that you do understand the foundations of the tools and functions first. Any questions for me? Any questions for me? Okay, so no questions over there. Make sure I check over here. Okay. All right, no questions. All right, be sure to head on over to shop.hsink365.com to enroll in the Essentials to Silhouette 30-day training. All right, y'all. Oh, wait, hold on. What was that? Okay, now. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.